welcome back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shannon Register, and every week you can join us for news and information about homeownership in Texas. We talk a lot about homeownership. We've talked a lot about politics to deal with homeownership. We've talked about selling. We just had some great economists on a few weekends ago that did a really great job. We've talked about all kinds of programs to help you buy. And this show today, or this segment today, I've got Mary Papageorge on. She is the lender, my preferred lender. She's a sponsor of the show, so you can go out there and check her out on HoustonRealEstateRadio.com. But the reason we are doing the show today is because we have a lot of people who approach the show, who call me, and they don't have a very high income and they need some assistance to be able to buy. They've been renting and they want to buy. So that's one of the things that kind of prompted us to do this show. If you want to purchase a home, there's probably a program out there that could help you do that. So that's kind of what we are talking about today. Before we get started with Mary Papageorge from AMCAP Mortgage, let me give you the call-in number. So if you've got a real estate question, you can call us 844-788-9444. That's our answer line. You can call anytime, 24/7. That number again is 844-788-9444. All right, Mary, you've been on the show before. Welcome back.
Thank you.
How you doing? You
doing great.
I know you got through the holidays. Now you start in the new year, and you've already gotten a buyer qualified for me, and I'm writing a contract this week. So I know you're busy.
Yes, ma'am. Life is great, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So, Mary, it's just that easy. You get them pre-qualified, and then they work with their realtor and go buy a house. I mean, it really is that easy. Most people are able to do it these days. Because there are a lot of programs out there if they can qualify for one of the programs, right?
That's right.
So let's talk a little bit about that. I've especially had single people approach me, people who are either divorced or they've never been married, and because they're single, they have a great job. They've had this great job for many years, but they don't make $100,000 a year. And so they think they can't buy a house, but that's just not true, right?
No, it's not. First-time home buyer programs have grant money available.
So first-time home buyer, just so people out there know, what does that mean? Because people think, if you never owned a house, you're a first-time home buyer. What does that actually mean, first-time home buyer? Well,
you could have owned a home 3.5 years ago. As long as you're past 3 years from the date of ownership, you actually become a first-time home buyer again.
So if you've not owned a home, and what does that mean? You haven't had a homestead exemption, or does that mean you haven't had a loan?
It just means that maybe you had to sell your home, you had a short sale, a foreclosure, or something happened in your lifetime, and you're now getting ready to get back into it and you want to think about buying a home again. If you have not owned a home for 3 years, you actually are considered a first-time home buyer.
Okay, so that gives a lot of hope to you guys out there who are thinking you want to change the dial because you're not a first-time home buyer. You may be a first-time home buyer. You just didn't realize it, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, so let's talk about the down payment assistance programs. I know you use a lot of them and have a lot of experience with them. What are some of the ones that you're familiar with that you really like to put buyers with?
Well, considering Harris County is one of the largest counties in Texas, I do a lot of Harris County down payment assistance programs, as well as Home Ownership Made Easy, which is also through Harris County DAP. There's also the Houston Assistance Program, but that property actually has to pay taxes to the city of Houston to qualify for that program.
So they have to be buying in Harris County.
In Harris County, and there are actually two separate programs, or actually three. One is Houston Assistance Program, which is the city of Houston. If it pays taxes to the city of Houston on HCAD, Harris County Appraisal District,
okay,
and it actually says pays taxes to the city of Houston, that property would qualify. If it's in Harris County and the income qualifies for one person in the household, say $37,350 right now. It has the new update has not come out yet. So as of 2015, the one person in the household, their max income was $37,350. We can get grant money from Harris County through a process that we have to deal with, and the money shows at the closing table after they've been through their approval process.
So some people are thinking, that sounds really good, but I'm going to have to jump through a lot of hoops. It might not be worth it. What kind of process is that to get qualified?
Well, we first start with credit. We have to have a 640 credit score.
Which you'd need anyway to do a loan.
Exactly. And they
so
basically...
650, is that what you said?
640. 640 or above.
Okay.
And that is it's an overlay, because most of the grant programs say, oh, no, you only have to have a 620. But we have secondary marketing, and those investors say, no, we want a 640, and they're the ones who get to make the rules.
Okay.
So once we have credit and income, the income is obviously determined. It's not the typical way.
Is there a minimum income or only maximum?
Maximum.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. They could be making $15,000 a year and they could qualify.
Possibly, yes.
Possibly, okay.
Potentially, yes. And there's a back ratio that we have to deal with, depending on the amount of money that we use. Like, for example, $23,800 with Harris County Down Payment Program expires this month. Mm-hmm. And that ratio can't exceed 41.5, but most of them are 42 back ratio. And that's something that I deal with. I don't expect the buyer to understand or know what their back ratio is. That's my job to make sure. And sometimes I might have them pay something off or maybe refinance a vehicle in order to get the ratio down so they could qualify for the program.
You give them the guidance they need so they can get qualified.
Absolutely.
So you're checking their credit, you're checking their income. What else?
We're checking basically the house now can't be any older than 20 years of age.
Okay.
So right now it has to be built in 1996 or after.
1996 was 20 years ago.
I know, right? My, how time flies. And it can't be a foreclosure or a short sale. And the reason is because when they do an inspection on the property, they want everything to be just so. And most people, when you deal with a foreclosure, it's an as-is property. And when you're dealing with a short sale, they're about to lose their home. They don't have any extra money to fix that house up to meet the specifications of that requirement.
Now, when you make an offer on the house, does the seller know that you're using this down payment assistance program, or you just give them a normal pre-approval letter and the seller doesn't know?
I usually give them a normal pre-approval letter, but I do let the seller listing agent know that we are doing a special program for the buyer.
Okay.
So, because there are certain timelines that I have to follow, and it has to go before the Commissioner's Court with the Harris County Down Payment in order for them to get the approval process.
Okay.
And so they have a specific timeline that my file has to be in there before that would qualify. So I have to let the seller listing agent know because most of the time they're not going to meet that deadline.
And on their income, do they have to have been with their job a certain amount of time?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
But if they've not been working for 6 months, they do have to be back working full-time for 6 months before they can qualify.
Okay, but if they're just changing jobs, that
changing
might be
jobs
okay.
is not usually a problem as long as they stay in the same line of work.
Okay, and so is that all the things that you look at for pre-qualifying?
That and how much money do they need, and to make sure that they don't have more in their accounts than because there is a restriction of having more than $10,000 liquid assets.
Okay.
So if they have more than $10,000 in a bank account, they're not going to qualify because they don't need the money. They have it.
They got to need the money. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So how do you determine which program to put them with? You just look at all of that and figure out the best fit?
It depends on where the property is located.
Okay.
So it has to be in Harris County to qualify. If it pays taxes to the city of Houston, that would follow under the HAP program.
Okay.
And sometimes if their income is too high to qualify for either of those two programs, we do have a third option in Harris County. It's called Home Ownership Made Easy.
Okay.
But they have to buy those houses on that website only.
So if they've got two families living in a house, grandmother works and has an income and she lives with the family, it's going to count all that income. So
That's
they
correct.
might have to go with a different program.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. And so they can just call you and go through this process and figure out what they qualify for, right?
Absolutely. So when I know I'm dealing with a first-time home buyer, that's the first thing I always do is see if I can qualify them for a grant because the money's there. Why not use it?
And so if you are out there and you're going to call Mary for this pre-approval, and she asks you if you're a first-time home buyer, remind her, I owned a house 5 years ago, but so she knows you can qualify for this. Okay, Mary, how do people find you?
My cell phone is the best way to reach me at 713-569-0025.
Okay.
Or thetexasmortgagepros.com.
All right, Mary, you do a great job. I know you're out there pre-approving people in the new year to buy a house in 2016. That's exciting. On timelines for purchasing when they're using this, does it extend out more than 45 days, or can you still close them in 45 days?
On an average, I can close within 45 days. I do recommend go ahead and putting 60 on the contract because then everybody's happy if we close early as opposed to having to ask for an extension. All
right, very good. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio, and you can find Mary through our HoustonRealEstateRadio.com website, and we'll be putting the video on the website as well. So if you missed any of the program and you want to learn more about down payment assistance, you can check out the video or give Mary a call or find her online at thetexasmortgagepros.com. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.